I answered some random Facebook post that this guy named Paul that I didn't know posted something about neurological socks, and I saw the word neurological socks. I thought, So I just messaged him and said, "What's this all about?" He says, "Well, I can't really explain it to you. You need to come and take a look at them." So I said, "Well, I'm going to be where he lives yesterday, actually, which is 2 hours from where I live." So I said, "Okay, let's meet. Let's see these things." So we're in a Tim Hortons, and I try the insoles, and he does his little "let's push you" test. And I said, "Be careful, I have a neurological problem. If you push me, I will fall over." So I pretty much went flying the first time. And then he put the orthotics down, and we did the same thing, and I stood there. I said, "Yeah, but you're faking it. You're not really pushing." He goes, "Yes, I am." I said, "I don't believe you." So he started pushing again, and I stood still again. And I said, "Yeah, I still don't know if I believe this." He says, "Why don't you just try on a pair of socks?" So I tried the socks. We did the same thing, and I said, I said, "How can this do anything?" I said, "I don't get it." So we were just chatting for about half an hour at the Tim Hortons. And I said, "You know what's really weird is that at the end of my feet, I can feel my shoes, and I realize they're too small because I don't have feeling. I haven't had feeling in the bottom of my toes for 3 or 4 years. So clearly now I know my shoes are too small because I can feel my feet rubbing the ends, but I haven't felt my toes in 3 or 4 years, which is absolutely bizarre." So I said, "Okay, I'll buy these socks." Then I went home and I said to my son, who's a big guy, he's like 6'4". I said, "Okay, Mike, I want you to do this." He says, "I don't want to push you over." I said, "Just humor me." So I took the socks off, and about 10 minutes later, I said, "Let's let them wear off," or whatever. So he pushes me, I went flying. And he said, "I told you." I said, "Hold on," I put the socks on. I said, "Do it again." He goes, "No, I'm going to hurt you." I said, "Just do the exact same thing again." So he did, and I stood there. And he said, "That doesn't make any sense." He said, "Take those off." So I took them off. And he did it, and I went flying, and I put them back on. I mean, I wobbled a little, but I didn't go flying. And he looks at me, he goes, "That's absolutely bizarre. Do you have a pair for me?" I said, "No, I don't have a pair for you." So last night I was at home, and I kept the socks on, and then I went for a walk on my treadmill. Because in 2012, I was diagnosed with a rare neurological problem, which landed me in a wheelchair for a couple of years. So now that I walk, I can walk again, but I have pain when I walk if it's more than 15, 20 minutes. So part of my regime is I have to walk at least an hour a day. So I usually do it in 15-minute spurts because it hurts. So I stop and then I get back on the treadmill. Anyway, so last night I got on my treadmill and I just turned the TV on. I was watching a show and I realized an hour and a half later I'm still walking on the darn thing.
No pain?
No pain. I got off because I thought I must be tired, so I got off. But wonderful. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I called my chiropractor this morning. I said, "Okay, Jay, I have these socks." And he goes, "What do you mean socks?" He said, "No, honest to God." I said, "I'm going to pick some up today." He goes, "Yeah, you stop here." So I'm stopping in his office.
Okay.
Because he doesn't understand why they're working. I said, "I don't know why." I said, "There's some weird thing on the sole of the foot." And I said, "It's bizarre." So
that's awesome.
I really don't understand.
Well,
and I don't even care why.
Well, but you know what? I want to explain why to you.
Okay.
So the bottom of our foot, like the rest of our body, has tons and tons of different types of receptors on the bottom.
Right.
Okay. And some of those receptors are mechanoreceptors. There's also acupuncture points, acupressure points. There's dermatomes. There's chiropractic neurology points, reflexology points. And what mainstream thinking would have you believe is that although these different types of receptors all exist like this, that they're not integrated and that they're not interlaced and they have no impact on each other.
Right.
It seems completely illogical to us. So we spent 6 years trying to figure out how they did in fact integrate, how they did interlace, and how they did work together. So once we figured, because we knew that if we could figure out how they work together, we knew that we could actually have some profound impacts on our nervous system, simply because those neuroreceptors all over our body feed information into our peripheral nervous system, and all that information is processed in our brainstem.
Okay.
So our brainstem controls our balance, our stability, respiratory efficiency, our heart rate, our autonomic system, parasympathetic, sympathetic system, somatic system, is also where our pain centers are. Controls our motor control, our gait, stability, balance. All these things that we don't want to think about are controlled by that brainstem. So we knew that if we could get that part of the brainstem to homeostasis, which is a fancy word for equilibrium, all of these things would work better.
Right.
But the key was finding out how these things were interlaced. So we spent 6 years, a little over 6 years, over $3 million in R&D, trying to figure out how it was. And we read studies from all over the world that had some indication of what the effect was. So we studied brain activity patterns on acupuncture. We looked at the mapping of different types of mechanoreceptors on the feet, on the skin. And there were certainly more than a few eureka moments that led us to here. What we've realized and what we understand is that our peripheral nervous system, which is the input system here, these receptors, are about 1 million times more sensitive than we've ever given them credit for.
Wow.
Right? So it doesn't require very significant or aggressive pressure. It's superficial. It's simple touch, right? But our peripheral nervous system is that sensitive. It's actually the greatest pattern recognizer in the world. When we walk into a new situation, sometimes we get those heebie-jeebies, we don't feel comfortable, we want to leave. That's your peripheral nervous system saying, hey, yellow light, it senses something, you should get out of here. And meanwhile, you can't see anything, hear anything, touch anything, but it's affecting you. You feel, right? Other instances of when we're in a crowded room, sometimes we're at a mall or a fair, we feel like somebody's watching us. We turn back and there is somebody looking at us. That's our peripheral nervous system picking something up.
Right.
It's hyper aware. Our survival instinct, our flight or fight system, very, very hyper aware and very, very sensitive, hypersensitive to a degree. So we're relying on that to send that trigger. So think of the bottom of your foot as a keyboard. You know, when programs get stuck, we press Control-Alt-Delete to get it going. We figured out the Control-Alt-Delete on the bottom of the foot. That sends the right signal to get everything working appropriately in the brainstem or in homeostasis, right? So once we had that pattern figured out, we encrypted it underneath an image of my fingerprint, so I could protect the IP and not share it. So that pattern actually is my fingerprint, and interlaced in it are the necessary points that we need to be touching on the bottom of your foot.
So it's definitely science-based then.
Oh, it's 100% science-based. So we've done independent studies that look at pain relief, that look at postural stability and balance, that look at mobility, that look at power generation and exercise efficiency. All of that's done because we can't make claims that we can't validate.
Right.
But that's why it works, right? So we've taken our understanding of mechanoreceptors, our peripheral nervous system, and brainstem activity to another level. We're not really interested in academia. We're going out there and doing that. Our job, our goal really is to help people. We know that our product and technology help people, and the more people we help, the more people they tell.
Well, I would never have believed it if I hadn't put these socks on and tried it.
That is the proof in the pudding. And this is why we give a money back guarantee on our product. We're like, try it. We think you're gonna really like it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason somebody's not happy with it, we're like, no problem, money back guarantee. But the results we see, the stories we hear back, that's why we do what we're doing. It just makes it so much worthwhile. So that's why it works.
I mean, I go for reflexology twice a week, and it's great while I'm there. But the minute I leave, I don't get the benefit.
Well, our system resets to where it was, right? So all the things in our environment, the things we're doing, the things we're consuming affect our system, right? And our entire body, every system in our body is always trying to get to equilibrium, trying to get to homeostasis. If we can get that part of the brain that controls all of these automatic functions to homeostasis, all of a sudden all those functions of that part of the brain are going to work better. So that's why it's instant, right? Because your nervous system is electrical, this isn't a drug or a chemical or a powder or some other thing that's, hey, take it for 30 days, 60 days, and you're going to see some relief. This is a light switch. Turn it on, turn it off as you stop. Put the socks on, take the socks off, put them on, off, and you're seeing the results. And people are like, it's magical. And I said, it's not magic. It's magical in the sense that we don't understand, but if you actually take the time to understand what's happening, you understand it's pretty clear. Like when we stub our toe, there's no delayed reaction of the pain.
No.
We stub the toe here, but the pain is processed in our brain. It's instant. It's the same mechanism. It's the same peripheral nervous system that's actually responding to the pain centers, the nociceptors centers, saying, hey, you stubbed your toe. Pain, pain, right? So if we can help the pain recognition part of our brain and the natural pain fighting mechanisms of our brainstem work better, That's why you're going to get that relief without drugs, without pills.
Well, last night was the first, because I do take usually a small dose pain med at night, or I can't sleep because if I'm walking all day, I'm in pain by night.
Sure.
And I forgot last night, and I didn't even notice.
I'm so glad.
So does everybody get results as quickly as I did, or?
Yeah, most people.
Wow.
Over 90% of people.
That's amazing.
We'll see it right away. We did a 1,000-person pain study with painful neuropathy and diabetics in their feet. Intake level was at least a level 4 on the universal pain scale. 94% had a reduction in their pain, of their neuropathy pain.
98.
That was the Planet Fest. Yeah. And 76% of them actually had the pain reduced to level 2 or low, or less, which is pain that's not noticeable.
Not even,
right?
If you have neuropathy and pain related, if you reduce it, you don't even notice it anymore.
Yeah. Right? So that's what we saw, and we're like, man, this is so amazing, the results we're getting. And the fact that there's no harm to this, there's no side effects to this. We're not asking you to ingest anything, change your lifestyle.
Yeah.
We've really worked hard to make the product super affordable, because wellness should be affordable. Wellness shouldn't have this amazing, high, terrible price point that everyday people like us can't get. What's the point of that?
Well, when I said to Jay yesterday, I said, okay, so I like the socks. I don't know why they're working, but I want to try a pair. I said, yeah, but how much? And he told me, and I just about fell off my chair. I thought he was going to pull out the thing and say, you can make $29.95 a month for the next 15 months or something.
Lease to own.
Lease to own or something. I thought the price was going to give me a payment plan and take my Visa card for 6 months or something.
No.
And he told me the price, and I said, are you kidding?
Because that's...
You can buy just pretty socks at the store that do nothing, but they look pretty for the same price.
And it goes back to why we did this, right? I don't know if Dan shared the story with you. When I was 13, my mother was diagnosed with MS. She's been in a wheelchair for 35 odd years.
Yeah, that's a hard thing.
Well, especially when you're 12 years old, you don't understand.
Right.
Right? And Dad knows this about me. I've got some bad habits of stuff rent space in my head, so you just keep focusing on things. So the impetus was when I came across neuromuscular science and neuroscience that was affecting neurological conditions without drugs. This was back in 2008 when I was introduced to neuromuscular dentistry. I was completely fascinated. And the thing in the back of my brain that was renting space was, hey, can I help my mom? Can I help people with MS? So sadly, I haven't been able to treat her MS or cure anything like that, but she has more energy. She has clarity of thought. Her speech is great. She's relatively pain-free. But her spirit and how much energy she has on a day-to-day basis has never been as high as it is now. And she wears the socks 24/7. She has the wellness socks, so she doesn't take them off.
Wow. Isn't it amazing that socks can change your life? Who would ever think socks would change your life?
Well, we didn't think so, but you know what? It's one of those things that you don't know. We knew that we could get there. I mean, people laughed at us. They thought, you'll never figure this out. And I'm like, why do you keep saying that?
Yeah.
Right? Dad and I are not skeptics. In the traditional sense. We're very mature business people. We come from my background was in enterprise software for 20 years. I have a very linear Cartesian brain. So I just, step by step. But I also see things in patterns. I also see, of course, this should work. And we live in, our belief system is, if it could be done, if it can be done, it must be done. If we can think of it, then surely we can figure it out. And that's really been the genesis for the last 6 years of, we're going to get to that spot. Regardless of what people say, because all of this other research that's out there sits in these buckets all over the world that no one's sharing information.
Right.
And they have, sometimes, unfortunately, have an academic bias toward what they're doing is being more important than what somebody else is doing. So the person that studies acupuncture doesn't study the mechanoreceptors, who doesn't study the dermatomes.
Not all.
Well, they're not congruent, and they're not giving anybody else credit. How could you have 12 different types of receptors in one small area not working together? It doesn't make sense.
So do you have your own research team that developed this, or?
Yeah, it was 3 people, me, myself, and I.
Okay.
And then Dad's dad was very supportive. Hi, Mike. It was a very solitary journey, simply because it required a level of belief that I didn't have the time and energy to bring somebody else on board to convince them to come join us. Right. Right. I mean, from the very beginning, Michael Henson, Dan's dad, believed in me and believed in what I was trying to accomplish. But he was one of fear, and this is why Dan is here today. I mean, the belief system that his dad and his family have shown me from the very beginning, I can't repay, because without their support, this wouldn't have happened. But even to this day, we meet skeptics like this. How can this happen? And I said, you can't deny what's happening to you.
No.
Right?
Well, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it.
Sure.
Because I looked at the sock and looked at that and thought, whatever. I have a million pair of insoles at home. And I've been from, because the orthotics are very uncomfortable. I've bought every type of insole you can buy in the store. I've stood on the machine that tells you what number you are.
I'll tell you why they don't work.
I bought them, brought them home, and thought, well, that was a
I'll tell you why they won't work. If you have a neurological condition,
yeah,
and if we know from neuroscience, not me, this is proven, that balance, stability, pain, all these things are neurological conditions controlled by our brainstem.
Yeah.
Then if you have a product, whether it's insoles or socks or a shoe, that doesn't address or activate that neurosystem, how could they possibly work for you?
Well, they couldn't, but you're always looking for something to fix the problem, but you don't know what you're looking for,
No, but the thing is this. The experts won't talk about the neuro side of it because they don't know how to access it. You know how majority of people access their brainstem or the neurosystem?
Yeah.
Drugs?
Yeah.
Electricity?
Yeah.
Or surgery?
Yeah.
That's the solution that they have. You're gonna try these neuro drugs, or we're gonna zap you, or oh, you're in too much pain, we can't help it, let's cut that. That's kind of aggressive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? But they don't want to deal with the fact that our system is it's so complex, but at the same time so elegantly designed that if you take the time and energy to figure out how it really works, it can work. So we're not interested in educating our competition how we got to here. Why would we do that?
No.
Right? We have a product. We got bulletproof IP because somebody to copy this is identity theft and copyright infringement.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't work so well for them.
No.
And we're not interested in teaching them all the struggles we went through for 6 years to get to here, right? And because this is designed to help people. So our focus is not being the biggest sock company in the world or the biggest insole company in the world. We want to help 1 billion people. Yeah. Right? And the reason we want to help 1 billion people is because we can. We have a platform and a technology that we can actually legitimately change wellness and quality of life on a global level, right? Because they're affordable and everybody wears socks.
Everybody wears socks anyway. And
so that's what we want to do.
And I tell you, like you said, the medication route, that was all they did for me with my issue. Try this drug, that drug, this drug, that drug, this drug, that drug. And I'm getting more results from a pair of socks.
Yeah.
In one day.
Well, it's funny you say that. Dan says it best. He goes, you know what, Jay? We're really in the wellness technology business. Socks is just the vehicle we're using right now because we've actually figured out how to put technology into compression wear, into underwear, into yoga pants, into compression sleeves. But you can only bring to market so many things at a certain rate.
Right.
So we started with a product that's the easiest to recommend, the easiest to use, the easiest to wear.
Right.
Right? And strictly from a business standpoint, if we can make it affordable and still have a valuable business component to it, where we can grow the business, keep spending money in R&D and product development, and bringing people on board that help us share the story, because we're not going to get there ourselves.
No, right.
Right? And the product's too smart for retail, and no offense to retailers, but they're not going to take the time to have this conversation, explain to somebody, hey, this is why this works and how it works.
Right.
Right? Because retail...
They want to turn product.
Well, they want to turn product, but they also want bulk of the revenue, right? Yeah. So we've spent millions and millions of dollars in R&D. We make the best structured quality sock in the world. I mean, you touch our socks and people feel, you know, this is a high quality product. So it doesn't fit that model because the first thing is education. You have to educate the person, why is this sock better? If I'm up against a global brand on, you know, whether it's Dick's Sporting Goods or Sport Check or Running Room, whoever, or Fleet Feet, you're going to see a big brand. You're going to see our product. People say, well, I don't know who this is, but I know who that is.
And they go for it.
And they're going to go for it. And our product is premium priced, right? And the reason it's premium priced is how technically advanced our product is. Like this pattern right here. You know, people make socks, and you can make socks for pennies, actually. I learned this the hard way, that there's a very inexpensive product out there. But, so, this pattern, if there's a hole ever develops in this pattern, you lose the benefits of the sock.
Right.
If there's a tear. But that also puts an extraordinary requirement on precision and quality control on us.
Right.
Right? There's a reason.
It's not perfect when you manufacture it. It's not going to work.
Well,
right?
So our QC failure rate is, it's so high because it has to be right.
Right.
we can't have product go to market that this is not right.
No.
Right? We have a money back guarantee, so we have to mitigate it. We have to control those things. But because it is so precise and because it seemingly is so, and it is complex, that we have to be 100% sure that when it goes on the shelf, when it leaves our location to our customers, that this works. So people say, well, why are you're getting these socks made for a couple bucks? I said, oh no, my friend.
No.
This is significantly more by multiples of that. Why? You start with the best material, raw material. Then our socks are made on 200 needle machines. So what that means is average sock you buy from the store is 96 needles.
Right.
So when you move up to 200 needles, a lot of things happen. Number one, you can use more finer material, which is what we want to do. But it allows us to get into the precision that we need. But because there's far fewer 200 needle machines, you have to really plan your production out, and your cost of production goes through the roof.
Right. But you're not really buying a sock, you're buying the benefit of what the sock does for you, right? It's
100%.
not just the sock.
100%. But the thing is, when people see it, to your point, it's what's a sock going to do for me? So because we're asking for a premium product, when people touch our product, when they touch their athletic socks, they feel it, they go, this feels, at least I know right away, the first thing that they can judge is quality.
Quality of the sock.
The socks, the quality is 100%.
Yeah.
That I'm not, this is not something I'm paying for, but this feels like a $3 sock, but this guy's asking for $25.
Right.
You touch it, you're like, okay, we're starting off on the right foot. I can keep having this conversation.
Right.
Right? So we have a commitment, and I've made a commitment to ourselves and to people that work with us, that you will always be able to say, this is the best, by every measurable definition in the world, this is the best sock in the world. And it's got our tech on it now.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing things we're doing. And the growth and the feedback's been so fantastic. But we're not in a rush to become this massive. You know what? Let's manage growth, get the right people on board, get the right results. And that's what we'll see. So we have so many chiropractors and physios and massage therapists and integrated medicine people that are working with us, and naturopaths, and they recommend it as part of their treatment to their patients. Like, hey, you're gonna feel better quicker by wearing this. Let's get you on board.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's affordable makes it that much easier.
Well, like I said, I was shocked when he told me the price.
Yeah.
Just shocked.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Okay, good.
In a good way. In a good way.
In a good way, Dad.
Like I said, I thought they were giving me $25 a month for the next.
Forever.
No,
$25 a month. You get a new pair every 3 weeks, but it's $25. Give me your credit card. Have a nice day. Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah. And you know what? Quite frankly, for these results, I would have done it anyway. But
you didn't know that going into it.
I didn't know that.
Right.
I was like, okay, wasn't until I tried them.
But
if I hadn't put them on my feet,
you wouldn't know.
I would have said, that's nice. Those are cool.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
But the thing is, now you're going to tell people.
Oh, I already told a bunch of people.
Right? And that's how this...
Even my neurologist said, well, you're coming next week for a checkup? Bring them.
No, of course. Because this is outside the books that they read.
Yeah.
Right? I'll tell you a story. I went to Scripps Memorial in San Diego. I'm working with one of the neurologists down there. I want to do neuroimaging of our product and see brain activity, right? I want to see this. I'm saying, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
What else is happening? I don't know. I can't see.
Yeah.
And I showed him the data we have, the studies that we had, and what we're seeing and what we're doing. And he said two really profound things to me. The first thing he said is, the pain pill people are going to have a lot of problems with you, man. You are doing some things that are very disruptive and very scary. The second thing he said, which I laughed and he laughed afterwards, he goes, I don't know, he goes, I'm not going to quantify who the they are, and this is not a conspiracy theory. He goes, but they never let this type of stuff come into my office.
Yeah.
Right? And I go, that's interesting. He goes, yeah, it's very interesting. So we're trying to figure out how to get that neuroimaging done in an expedient way. And I think that'll be great, because then seeing is believing, right? Once people see what's happening. So neurologists are always fascinated. Yeah. But sometimes...
And my neurologist is a competitive athlete on his own as well. So he's interested for both reasons.
Right.
But like what you said, my chiropractor said, well, if they really work, there go my orthotic sales.
We've heard that conversation before.